Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Man, I am in my office and I'm here with Elder Bob Moore. And basically what we wanted to do, everybody, was just give you guys just a little brief chat about COVID-19. I mean, I had a long conversation with somebody yesterday that had just beat COVID-19, and that impacted me so much. I just thought Elder Bob Moore and I would just sit and talk to you guys for a few minutes about COVID-19 and what we need to do in terms of moving forward, because you guys know we're at the peak of what the virus has been doing this entire year. From what I'm told by the news media, we have never seen this virus spike like it is spiking right now. And it seems like a lot of people don't understand that means you need to kind of back off and do some things to really keep yourself safe. What do you think about that, Bob? We got all this going on and people are not paying attention to what they
Right,
should do.
right. What you know, a lot of people are experiencing what they call virus fatigue. So what we are admonishing the people to do now is to be ready, be alert, be vigilant, because everything that we've seen in the past, from for the last 9 months or so, is mild compared to what we're going to see after the Thanksgiving effect and the Christmas effect and the New Year effect. We're talking exponential increase in numbers.
Yeah.
Just during the month of December, entering the month of December, we had a total of about 10 million infections in the U.S. And now, toward the end of December, we're already forecasted to have over 20 million.
Yeah.
So that's growing a million in a month. And if
Right.
you've noticed, we've grown several hundred thousand within the last 7 days.
All right. Got you.
So the
All right.
spike is really just going straight up now.
Now, let me ask you a question. You
Mhm.
talked about some kind of fatigue. What kind of fatigue did you say?
Virus fatigue,
Virus fatigue.
coronavirus
Now,
fatigue.
basically, just give me a little short synopsis of what the fatigue is. What
Well,
is it?
fatigue is when a person really gets tired of something.
Exactly.
When you
Yeah.
get
Oh, you said so. We
physically,
saw people so tired of hearing about COVID
right,
19,
absolutely,
putting on masks,
right, right,
sanitizer, washing their
right,
hands all the time.
right,
They just so tired of doing it. They
right,
said, "Man, I'm through with this stuff. I'm not
right,
putting on any mask. I'm not washing my hands that
right.
much. I'm not definitely not. I mean, I paid all my money on this." On a hand sanitizer, so I'm not going to do that anymore. That's what you said they're doing?
And that's totally the unsafe thing to do right now.
For
Not only
sure.
for yourself, but for those around you as well.
Oh, that's crazy.
And part of the reason is generally we live in a pretty proactive society,
Right.
and normally we would kind of have a handle on things by now,
Got you.
and people wouldn't be so fatigued because we would be rounding the curve and the virus would be going
Right.
down.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the situation was handled and the way it was put in terms of how it was spread before we even
Right.
knew it spread it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it so many people contracted till now you have, in addition to a normal virus, you have a virus where people can be affected and not have
Wow.
symptoms.
Wow.
So they call it
Yeah.
asymptomatic.
I
So
understand that. Yeah.
those people, on top of everything else that is going on, those people are walking
Wow.
around unknowing that they have the virus and they're continually
Exactly. Yeah,
spreading
for
it.
sure. We know about that. Yeah. Well,
Right.
Lanto, my cousin, he just mentioned
Hmm.
here that he lost his
Hmm.
sister-in-law,
Right.
already to COVID-19, and all
Yeah.
of us have been impacted
Yes.
by that. Now,
Yeah.
this is getting to be more in depth than we thought it was,
Yeah.
because not only are people experiencing death because of the virus,
Hmm.
but a lot of people are experiencing death through suicide and other means
Hmm.
because of the anxiety that
And
is bringing on. It's causing other problems
right.
that we need to pay attention to. Just speak to that for a moment. What other kinds of problems that the virus is causing that people are really bowing down
Mm.
to?
Well, people who have pre-existing conditions
Right.
are more susceptible to being affected adversely by this virus. So if you have kidney disease, if you have heart disease, or if
Yeah.
you have diabetes, or you
Right.
have any of these other pre-existing symptoms, when that is coupled with
Right.
the coronavirus does so much damage to the lungs and to the body. People are having difficulty breathing. People are experiencing all sorts of chest pains and
Yeah.
not knowing what's going on.
Right.
And because the people are some of them are afraid to go to the hospitals
Yeah.
because that's where a lot of the virus is. And then now the hospitals are so full that they're turning people away.
Exactly. Yeah.
We had a situation just last week right here at
Exactly.
Christians Northeast.
Yeah.
Somebody went there and they didn't have a bed left for them at
Yeah.
Christians Northeast. They tried to transfer them to Barnes.
Wow. Wow.
Couldn't take them to Barnes. Had to take them
Yeah.
way out to another
For
hospital.
sure.
So it's to our advantage to make sure that we are protecting both ourselves and those around us and preventing the spread of
Yeah.
this disease.
Yeah. For sure.
And there's a
Yeah.
number of ways to do that.
Yeah.
Bishop mentioned
Yeah.
washing your hands, Bishop
Yeah. Yeah. We know what
sanitizing.
to do. Yeah. Everybody
Yeah,
knows what to do. But
right.
like you said, they just have that pandemic
Fatigue.
fatigue. Yeah. They
Yes.
just don't want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it can cost you your life.
Yeah, probably like Scott just
Mhm.
mentioned, it's a mental health pandemic, and that's
Right.
what it is. A lot of people
Right.
are under all kind of stress,
Absolutely.
including children. A lot of them
Yes.
are under all kind of stress. And I just want to say this: those of you that are watching, especially those of you that have children that you are responsible for, get those kids out the
Yeah.
house some.
Yeah.
You know, this past Saturday, I rode around to different places with my son for at least 4 or 5 hours. We were just out there going from
Yeah.
place to place to place. I just did it,
Yeah.
we had some things to do, but I was just really trying to get him out of the house.
Right.
Because man, just stuck in that house is
Yeah.
all day
Yeah.
is something for a child. I mean, it's something that might not think that it's really causing a lot of problems, but we're finding out that they, really what a lot of these people that give us information on this is telling us that it's better for kids to be at school
Yeah.
than to be stuck in a house looking at a computer screen for 6 hours, 5 hours, whatever that time is. But let me just open this kind of worms up, Bob,
Mhm.
because we're saying that the percentage
Mhm.
of people that are infected with COVID-19 and where the vaccine is being basically thrown into right now
Mhm.
is in the Afro American community. And I'm not where I am a little bit of conspiracy theorist, but what do you think that we should arm ourselves with because of these numbers that seems to be jaded toward the Afro American community?
Well, Bishop, the number one thing that we have to do first and foremost, and you've been doing extreme illustrations on this for the past few months, is prayer.
Okay.
We're living in Second Chronicles 7:14, where the Bible says,
Yeah,
"If my
yeah,
people, which are
yeah,
called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my
yeah,
face, and
for
turn from their
sure.
ways, say, then I will hear their prayers from heaven." Is what it's
Okay,
really saying. I'll hear from heaven and
okay,
I'll heal their land.
right.
So the thing that moves God the most is when His people pray to Him and petition Him to change things in the earth realm.
Okay, all right,
And
okay.
and
Yeah, that's a solution. That's a good
that's the
decision.
main
All right, for
solution.
sure.
Everything
But
else,
you know what, Bob? What
yeah,
we're saying is,
yeah,
our people,
yeah.
God's people, are not humbling themselves.
And
They're not praying. They're not seeking His face. They're not turning from their wicked ways because they still doing some of the same stuff. If it was so, the Lord would have done what He said He would do. If we meet the conditions,
mhm,
God is going to do what He said He would do. But He can't. On the flip side of it, if you do this, I'll do that. But if you don't do this,
right.
I'm not going to do that.
So then you've just illustrated why we're in this predicament and why
Yeah,
we're in this pandemic. And we
yeah,
see this throughout the Bible. We see this throughout history. We see this throughout time. And for the last 400 years, we've
yeah.
seen this right here in the United
Okay,
States.
yeah,
In
yeah, yeah,
1917 to 1920,
yeah,
influenza virus,
yeah,
1820,
yeah,
1720, and now 2020.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, we know we're here, Bob.
so
We're
God
here.
is humbling us,
Yeah, yeah,
just like
yeah.
what you just
Hopefully,
said, because
yeah,
the church tends to get relaxed.
yeah.
God's people tends to get
Yeah,
relaxed
well,
and
some, not
not
all,
pray.
some,
Not
yeah,
all.
yeah, some,
Right.
yeah. Well, I like what
Hmm.
Timothy just mentioned,
Hmm.
man, that he works in the mental health field,
Hmm.
and the loss of connection
Hmm.
is impacting a lot of individuals, and Micah says that they're truly being impacted
Hmm.
and are being in the house has caused them to be withdrawn.
Right.
They're being withdrawn, they're being withdrawn. You can pull it up there. They're being withdrawn. So, it's causing a lot of other kinds of problems. Prophet-elect Donna Scott works in the mental health field as well. She has a ministry called I can't think of the name of her ministry, but she deals with suicide.
Right.
And we're hearing that these things take place. What I believe, Bob, is this, that a lot of people are not looking at this very seriously.
Right.
Kids shouldn't be committing suicide
They
now.
shouldn't be.
Because parents should be really paying close attention to the changes that they see in their kids. And I mean, really, all you all that have children, you got grandchildren and nieces and nephews, you need to talk to your kids and find out how are they doing. I ask my son that all the time. Unmasking suicide. Yeah, that's the name of her
Unmasking
ministry.
suicide.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for that,
Yes.
Prophet elect. Yeah, unmasking suicide, and that's very, very powerful because
Yes.
obviously now, to me, I might be wrong, no, but as far as being out there in the media,
Yeah.
out there in the public, suicide in the black community wasn't seen that much.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Growing up, I don't, very few people did that, but now, you know, people like Prophet Lex Scott is unmasking it.
Right.
She's showing people that this is prevalent in our community, especially now.
And Bishop, I was just a week and a half ago. I was at a daycare and preschool, and there were children as young as 2 and 3 years old out in the playground playing, and they were masked.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't think that this has some type of long-lasting effect on our youth, we're tripping.
Oh yeah,
Because
without question.
when you look at the fact that
Yeah.
generationally, if you go back 30 years ago, as you mentioned, you saw very few black people
Yeah.
commit suicide. Now they're affecting these children at these ages. How much
Uh-huh.
younger will that be when in the next
Yeah.
10 years when
Yeah.
people
It's a lot. It's
when
a
this
lot.
is
Yeah.
manifesting?
Yeah. It's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse. But look. Charlotte brings up a very important point that
Mhm.
people who have loved ones that are hospitalized,
Mhm.
they're being overlooked because the people that are in the hospital. Like you said, it's too many people to keep up with.
Right.
And then you talk about the people that are infected with COVID-19.
Yes.
Having the what was that term you used again?
Pandemic fatigue.
For pandemic fatigue. But think about this. Think about what uh, the doctors,
Mhm.
the nurses,
Mhm.
and all the other people. Think what kind of fatigue they are experiencing. It's got to be overwhelming.
It's immeasurable, Bishop.
Right.
There's no way to quantize it and determine the full effect. And they've interviewed so many of them over the news media, but to see someone literally die alone is a dramatic effect on a person. To see someone come in and they have relatives and they can't communicate with them, they can't see them, they can't touch them, and the Bible even bears out that there's strength in fellowship.
Mhm.
So a lot of people typically without the coronavirus pandemic
Yeah.
would be able to be strengthened by their loved ones
Yeah.
coming into their presence and
Yeah.
encouraging them.
Right.
These people are dying even without encouragement from anybody.
Hey, but I'm sure that a lot of them are giving up hope
Yes.
because they don't have that encouragement coming
Right.
from that their loved ones, their family members and all that, their friends too.
Right.
Because but you still can talk to people on on your cell phone and all that kind of stuff. So people should really work on trying to do that because to be in a place by yourself
Yeah.
when nobody really knows you
Yes. Yes.
but a bunch of fatigue
Mhm.
caregivers. Man, that's got to be really depressing. And I'm sure a lot of people that are in these hospitals are suffering from tremendous depression. You got to be depressed. You're sick. You can't breathe. You having all these other symptoms, and nobody's talking to you. Nobody's
Right.
saying anything good for you. They try to, some people, I'm sure you know this better than I do.
Right.
Sometimes the physicians just say, "Hey, man, this one isn't going to make it, so let's just spend more time with the other one."
Right.
So all those kind of things need to be looked into. So if you ever have a relative that goes into a hospital, what you need to do is try your best. If they have a cell phone and all that stuff, try to talk with them every day.
Right.
Every single day. The healthcare workers are working 12 to 18 hours a day. Man, that is unnatural.
Right.
That is unnatural. 12, 18 hours. 18 hours, you only got 6 more hours to
Right.
sleep. When do you sleep? When do you eat?
Right.
Man, those people, and they just walk. I mean, just nature itself will tell you,
Right.
man, at some point you're going to break down and you can't get the best care.
And Bishop, what makes it so difficult? You mentioned reaching out to them and communicating with them, and that's why it's such a sense of urgency to let your family know when you've contracted a disease or when you're going into this hospital. Because today and in the past, what they've been doing is as soon as possible they're intubating people. So when you're intubated and you have this mask on, you can't talk to anybody anymore. So the only way you can really get
You
to
mean
people
incubator? What do you mean?
when they're intubated, they're actually wearing this apparatus.
Yeah. So you're talking about the infamous. What is that machine they put on everybody? Yeah, yeah. What do they Charlotte? What do they call that machine they put on everybody? The one that nobody wants to put on because
Right.
8 out of 10 people when they put that on they die.
They die. They
Yeah,
die, and they're and they're dying alone.
yeah.
They
What do
can't
they call it?
communicate with
What do
anybody.
they call it? What do they call it? They
I'm not
call
sure
it.
what the
They call
machine's
it.
called.
They call it. Oh, I forgot what they call the machine.
Hmm.
But when you put that machine on, Bob,
Hmm.
that's a death wish.
Yeah.
That is death. That's a death wish. Churches are being shut down.
Hmm. They call
Is
it a
a
ventilator.
issue because yeah,
Ventilator.
yeah, ventilator. Yeah,
Yeah.
churches are being shut down
Hmm.
because church is only family. Church is the only family they have. Let's look at that, but let me
Okay.
look at. You can't get all that on it.
Okay.
Let's see. Zoom is not a replacement for fellowship. Well,
Absolutely.
but I'm gonna tell you something,
It
Timothy.
helps.
I'm gonna tell you the reason churches do that. Our church is a very large church,
Hmm.
and man, and the more people you have in your church, the more susceptible they are to coronavirus. And we still are trying to figure out how to navigate through this. We're still trying to do that.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, we've had a number of people in our church, not a whole bunch, there's a ventilator. We haven't had a number of people,
Hmm.
a lot of people that have been infected with the virus,
Hmm.
but we've had a number that have been,
Hmm.
and had we been in church, those people would have came to church,
And
some of them not knowing,
and
and
spread the
affected
virus.
everybody else. See, y'all don't hear
Yeah.
about that, Timothy. You don't hear about the numbers of people that are infected in the church. We have a lady that comes to our church from out of town. You know, she comes to our church from another church. I said
Right.
from another church, and man, they have had so many people infected. It is unbelievable.
Right.
Church is not a safe place now, man. I'm telling you, it is not a safe place, especially the way we're Pentecostal. The
Right.
way Pentecostal folks do it, you have to calm down a little bit, Timothy. We understand that. But the reason we have to shut down is because the same reasons the schools had to do it,
Right.
especially now.
Right.
And then some people are still having church, very small congregation where you have,
Mhm.
5 or 10 people at church. Man, we have more than right at 5 musicians at church every Sunday. We have 5 or 6, most often time 4, 5, or 6 people that work the cameras and the mixing board and the
Right.
lights and all that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, ventilator. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's a lot of problems, but there is no one shot solution. But we're doing all that we can, man. I'm telling you, churches do a lot to keep things going. But I will tell you this, Timothy. One of the things that we have done, and other churches do it too, we know that.
Mhm.
What we have done, we have a system that was already in place before the pandemic.
Right.
Bob is one of the pastors in this church. We have 28 pastors in this church that call every member in our church every week to see if there's anything wrong or you having any issues, how you feeling, and all that stuff. That's really what will help, man.
Yes.
You gotta stay in contact with the people, and every day, every single day. Listen, every single day. Okay, got you. Every single day, I send out a. Now, you can. This ain't gonna do it all, but it does a lot. Every single day, 7 days a week, I send out a message on a device. We call it phone tree.
Right.
All right, it's a robocall. I send something out every day. Those are just a few ways we connect with people. I call the mothers on the phone. Bob calls his people on the phone
Yes.
every single week. So you do all you can. I mean, there's no foolproof solution to this.
Right.
There is none. The only foolproof solution to it is when this stuff declines to the point where we can get back to normal. Until then, we're gonna have to do just what we can. That's
And
what we
Bishop,
do.
as a man of God, I really have to give you your props because our church literally tries to
Yeah.
communicate on every medium
Oh, I got
possible.
you. I got you. Okay, I misunderstood you,
Yeah.
Timothy. Thank you
Yeah.
for clarifying that, man.
Yeah.
Because believe me, Tim, let me tell you something, Tim. Man, Bob know me. All you guys that go to faith know me. I'm the last person that want to be outside of church, man.
Amen. Amen.
I'm the last person. But
And we
I
love being
would
around people.
there you go, but I would rather not have service
Mhm.
and nobody dies because they came here and was
Yeah.
infected than to come here and somebody does die because of
Right.
that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's protecting life and protecting health.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, man, we've talked longer than we wanted to.
Okay. All right, Bishop.
But
But Bishop,
this is a hot topic.
I wanted to touch on one point that you made on earlier
Go
because
ahead.
you expressed the importance of communicating with people who get the virus. And I want to express the sense of urgency to let your family know if you contracted, because most people don't realize that they're affected for the first 7 to 10 days, because you don't have a lot of symptoms, but you can be spreading. By the time you realize you're affected and you have to go to the hospital, within a few days of being in the hospital, people are going on a ventilator so they can't communicate. So it's definitely important to reach out to family members and try to stay in touch with family members and friends before they have to go on a ventilator.
Yeah.
Because there's times and things that they may want to say, things
Yeah.
they may want to experience, the whole 9 yards. So it's
Yeah.
important for us to communicate, even though we can't be there and physically touch and fellowship.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the first sign of symptoms, you need to go get checked out.
Go get checked out.
Yeah.
And definitely
Yeah.
make sure that you're communicating with
For sure,
family,
without question.
because
Yeah.
you never know when it's going to be your last time to
Exactly. Oh,
communicate.
yeah, for sure, man. Because what I've seen, just dealing with a number of people that have had the virus, I've seen people experience it, and initially the symptoms are not that
Right.
acute,
Right.
but then as time goes on,
Right.
the breathing gets more labored.
Correct.
The headaches increase,
Yes.
and all of the things that really is what we see with COVID-19 has really taken root.
Yeah.
That's when those problems happen. So as soon as you start seeing symptoms, don't stay at home. Tell everybody, man. And I'm gonna say this to you guys: do not trust anything.
Yes.
You don't let anybody in your house. No, you need to, man. Right now, Christmas is coming up. Man, I don't care. I don't care how much you love your family. You should not have a house full of folks.
Right.
You should not have a house full of people. You know, we got to. We got to look out for safety first. Get on Zoom and talk to your family members. We did that on Thanksgiving. We all got on a Zoom and we hollered at each other, but we was all safe.
Yes.
I was in my house. Mother Baylor was in her house. Pastor Marlon was in his house.
Yep.
Everybody was in their own house. Man, you
So-
got to do that, man. You got to do that.
Right.
You've had two cousins die. Hey, man, man, you have my condolences, Micah. Have my condolences. That's what you got to do, man, because again, I think Tracy said that this virus is no joke. Anybody that don't think it's real, they got another thought coming.
Angela Shaw says, Bishop, we know it's real if you close your church down.
Huh?
Angela Shaw is saying that now. She said, Bishop, we know it's real if you close your church
Hey,
down.
man, I'm telling you, I got look, Bob, you on the committee. We have a COVID-19 response team.
Right.
COVID-19 response team. Matter of fact, we meet tonight at 9:00.
Yes,
Ever since the virus kicked in, the Lord had me put this committee together, this response team together. It
Right.
features a scientist, a medical doctor, nurses, folk that work in the healthcare field, just everybody, man. We have one nurse. She's been doing it for 30 or 40 years, and they counsel me about what to do. I'm not making my decisions on my own. My point is this, man. When you have something as diabolical as COVID-19,
Right.
man, you need to hear from a lot of trusted, informed, experienced people.
Amen.
Because you can't make this decision. I guarantee you, a number of the pastors that went back to church made that decision on their own, without any medical intervention, without any people that work in that field or that industry giving them counsel.
And it's sad, Bishop, because many of those pastors who continue to have service and went back to service on their own have experienced not only coronavirus sickness in their parishioners, a lot of them have experienced deaths.
I know they have died.
Yes.
I know of a pastor, a Pentecostal pastor.
Yes.
He told his people, the blood is covering us. You don't need a mask. Guess what happened? He died.
Yeah.
He died. It was a big thing, man. It was a big thing, man. Yeah. Hey, I'm trying, man. Barbara, I'm trying to be wise, because, man, one of the worst things that could ever happen is somebody die in Faith Miracle Temple because I lifted the band and everybody came to church and somebody got infected and they died. How can you talk to those people after that? How can you talk to that family after their loved one died because of a decision I made? Man, I couldn't live with that. So, you got you hit it good. One of you all hit it really good. Man, you're really taking the lesser of two evils.
Right.
Lesser of two evils.
Right.
And that's what you got to do. There's no real solution for any of this stuff, man, but you do the best that you can. And we're trying to do everything we can. Okay, Bob, we got to get out of here, man. I got a Bible study. I have a Bible study at 1 o'clock.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay, bless y'all, man. Thank y'all for chiming in.
Until the next
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I'm gonna teach Bible class, and we'll take these masks off and all this stuff because hopefully I'll be there by myself. And you know what? We're gonna say this. I'm gonna let Bob run us out of there. I'm gonna let Bob run us out of here.
Well, until the next time, God wants to take you and you and you and all of you to higher ground. God bless
Yeah.
you.